I didn't cry when my mother said she wouldn't come to my wedding. She called it a trivial event for someone at the bottom. Her voice carried that usual mix of condescension and dismissal, the tone she reserved for moments when she wanted to remind me of my place in the family hierarchy. I just nodded, said I understood, and hung up. But I didn't, not really. That night, I sat in my half-furnished apartment, staring at the wedding invitations I'd printed myself. My fiancée slept on the couch, exhausted from working a double shift. I looked at her, at the simple dress hanging on the closet door, and the modest decorations we'd picked, and thought, trivial? No. What was trivial was their love, conditional, performative, measured in convenience and control. Growing up, I was the quiet one, the observer. My brother, Daniel, was the golden child, star athlete, charming, always the one Mom boasted about. I was the one who needed to try harder, who should be more like Daniel. When Dad died, the hierarchy solidified. Daniel got the car, the savings account, and Mom's pride. I got her expectations and silence. Still, I never complained. I worked my way through college, took small jobs, built something out of nothing. When I told her I was getting married, she laughed. "To who?" she asked. "Someone who can't even afford real flowers?" It wasn't cruelty, it was tradition, her language of dominance. 3 days after my wedding, a small ceremony in a rented garden surrounded by a handful of friends, I opened my phone. On my feed, my mother's smiling face, cocktail in hand, ocean behind her. Hawaii with Daniel's family. The caption read, "Real family time, so proud of my son." I stared at that photo for a long time. My wife, standing beside me, whispered, "It's okay." But it wasn't. Not because they missed the wedding, I'd expected that, but because they replaced it with a celebration. As if I didn't exist. As if my life had no weight. I didn't comment, didn't call. I simply saved the post. The shift happened quietly. No outburst, no drunken phone call. I started to distance myself. Calls went unanswered. Family group chats muted. When Mom asked for updates, I responded with one-word answers. When she hinted about money, small loans, help with taxes, paperwork, I listened, nodded, and made mental notes. She'd put her name on a few documents years ago to help me get started. She thought it gave her control. In truth, it gave me access to things she'd forgotten she signed. When she and Daniel took out a joint loan for his business expansion, she used me as a co-signer. "Just temporary," she'd said. "You owe us for all we've done." And I had agreed, out of guilt, out of habit. But after Hawaii, I began reading every clause, every repayment term. I didn't sabotage anything, I just waited. A month before the first major payment was due, I quietly separated my name from every shared account, transferred my part of the collateral into my company's trust. My lawyer, a friend I'd helped during his startup, handled the paperwork with precision. When the payment date arrived and the lender called, the account bounced. Mom's name was still on everything. Mine wasn't. That's when she called. Her tone wasn't condescending this time. It was frantic. "They're saying the loan payments haven't been made." I cut her off. Calm, controlled. "Don't contact me about trivial matters, Mom." There was silence. A sharp, confused inhale. Then, anger. "Trivial? This is serious, David." I smiled. "That's how you described my wedding." She came to my office 2 days later, dressed in her best, face tight with fury. She didn't ask to sit. She slammed a folder on my desk. "You ruined us." "Daniel's business?" I looked up from my screen. "I didn't ruin anything. I just stopped cleaning up after your choices." Her eyes darted between my calm expression and the quiet confidence in the room. The glass walls reflected her like a stranger. "You planned this," she hissed. I shrugged. "I learned from you. Everything's about hierarchy, remember? You taught me that. The strong stay on top. The rest, learn to live at the bottom." Her lips trembled, not from sadness, but realization. The control she'd spent years maintaining had shifted. The son she'd dismissed now held the leverage she couldn't reclaim. Daniel called later that evening, screaming about bankruptcy, reputation, family. I didn't reply. I let his messages pile up, unread. It's been 6 months. I haven't spoken to any of them. Sometimes I see Mom's name flash on my phone, but I don't answer. I imagine her voice, brittle, desperate, and I feel nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction. Just quiet closure. Revenge isn't loud. It doesn't need grand speeches or ruined lives. It's the silence that follows when those who dismissed you finally realize you stopped caring. They called my wedding trivial. Now, I call their chaos.